need to develop a capacity to know what potential enemies are doing. The United States government has perfected a technological capability that enables us to monitor the messages that go through the air. These messages are between ships at sea. They could be between units, military units in the field. We have a very extensive capability of intercepting messages wherever they may be in the airwaves. Now, that is necessary and important to the United States as we look abroad at enemies or potential enemies. We must know. At the same time, that capability at any time could be turned around on the American people. And no American would have any privacy left. Such is the capability to monitor everything. Telephone conversations, telegrams, it doesn't matter. There would be no place to hide. If this government ever became a tyranny, if a dictator ever took charge in this country, the technological capacity that the intelligence community has given the government could enable it to impose total tyranny. And there would be no way to fight back, because the most careful effort to combine together in resistance to the government, no matter how privately it was done, is within the reach of the government to know. Such is the capability of this technology. Now, why is this investigation important? I'll tell you why. Because I don't want to see this country ever go across the bridge. I know the capacity that is there to make tyranny total in America. And we must see to it that this agency and all agencies that possess this technology operate within the law and under proper supervision, so that we never cross over that abyss. That's the abyss from which there is no return.
Wait until you hear how blasphemous this guy's teachings are, and how absolutely as clear as day it's the type of ideology that will set up the end times Antichrist system.
I mean, all this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news. Not the intelligent design of some God above the clouds, but our intelligent design.
We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into God. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
You know, the whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will, and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will. That's over.
And now fast forward to the early 21st century, when we just don't need the vast majority of the population.
Alright, I want to start off by saying Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahawashi, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahawashi, Call Halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi, Call Halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi, by Hashem Makak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone that told me this doctrine in truth and sincerity. Shalom to the elect. The Heavenly Father's name is Yahweh, which means He is or He exists. By Hashem, in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world even calls Jesus Christ, we know His name to be Yahawashi, which means He's the deliverer. He is the Savior for the Hebrew Israelites of the pedigree of your father. By Hashem, in the name of the Rokak Wadash, which means the Holy Spirit, they're able to give us knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of who we are, which are the true Hebrew Israelites. Okay, if you're so-called Negro, so-called Latino, so-called Native American, or of the speckled bird, looking like the other nations, in your spirit, bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh Hashem Yahawashi. You could be one of the elect. Shalom. We've been discontinued from our heritage because we went off following after false gods and false idols, not following the law, statutes, commandments that was given to us by our forefathers. And because of these offenses, we were sent into captivity. But through Yahawashi HaMashiach being the perfect sacrifice in the flesh to the Heavenly Father, He's been given all power to be able to sit on the right-hand side of the Heavenly Father Yahweh, to be able to open the seals of this book, to be able to give the understanding to the disciples, to the apostles and the prophets and the men on down, to be able to wake up the tabernacle of David before the said destruction happens. And then with that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, we're able to know who our oppressor is, which is Esau, Edom. Esau means wasted away he is, and they are the biblical Edomites that it speaks about in the scriptures. that are the wicked, which is the so-called white man of today, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, the Warburgs, right? The ones that are bringing forth a manufactured siege on Babylon the Great and other parts of the world by destroying the food supply, paying the farmers to not farm, putting barium aluminum in the air, putting mercury and fluoride in your water, and bringing forth their New World Order, the Novus Ordo Seclorum, which is on the back of your dollar bill, which is a one world government, a one world military, and a one world religion. And that one world religion is you worshiping after the beast system, you having something that's physical, that's a device that's embedded inside your hand or in your forehead, so they can be able to control you by buying and selling, okay, through a central banking digital currency, which will be governed by a blockchain. A blockchain will be these elites, okay, the biblical Edomites, the wicked, and they are consulted together with these other heathen nations to, hide thy hidden ones, which are you Hebrew Israelites, okay, you so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans, to be able to hide you, far as to bring forth their New World Order, their Novus Ordo Seclorum, through their, their digital technocracy. Okay, taking away the paper dollar that folds and bringing in their digital currency because they have a God complex. Okay, and in that God complex, they think that they can be able to overtake Yahweh, and Yahweh because the Lord's put forth what a lying spirit. Yahweh controls both good and evil. They're both obedient to Yahweh far as bringing in prophecy. Okay, and with that knowledge, wisdom, understanding, the Lord's raising up the tabernacle of David. Okay, throughout the four corners of the earth, bringing forth that remnant, bringing forth the elect through the rising of what this word. Okay, bringing forth righteousness and putting down wickedness. Okay, this is all prophecy. So in the lesson, it's going to be centered around the control that Esau Edom wants to put on the world, which to a certain point, the Lord's going to let him do it, far as there's a balance that he cannot cross, okay, to what be able to bring forth prophecy, because there's a lot of our people out there that don't want to hearken to this word. They don't want to listen. They're in that merged spirit. They misuse the prophets till there was no remedy, okay, and the remedy, as far as the grace, is closing, because once the, this devil, far as him, watching us, surveilling, sitting in the lurking places, surveilling us, watching, he wants to get after the prophets, because the prophets are the ones that are actually hewing him with this word, cutting him asunder, breaking them down, okay, and exposing who he is, okay, which is Esau Edom, which he is the wicked, okay. And when you have articles like this and videos like Esau Edom boasting about his pride, it's able to be very clearly, if you have the eyesight, to be able to see. It says that UK warns China could use central bank digital currency to control citizens while working on UK CBDC. So I explained what the CBDC is. It is a central banking digital currency, which is taking away the paper dollar, bringing in the CBDC, which is going to be controlling what buying and selling. And it will be controlled by a blockchain, which will be these stakeholders that have put millions of dollars into buying this technology, the AI technology, to push forth their left-handed magic, because they want everyone to be transhumanism. Okay, they want transhumanism. They want everybody to be a robot, merging a human with robot. Okay, that's why Yuval Noah Harari, he said that, which is one of WEF cronies, one of Klaus Schwab's cronies, and he said that the vast majority of people need to die. Okay, this is showing who Esau Edom is, far as Revelation 6:4, that red horse that came to take peace from the earth, that has, no problem with spilling blood. Okay, let's just get a couple of scriptures before we go into the article. This is Ezekiel 35:2. Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. And Mount Seir is known as Esau Edom today. Okay, the white man of today. prophesy against it. Why? Because it's nothing but abomination, nothing but iniquity. Okay, Satan, they are the spiritual counterpart of the Shaitan, far as in the flesh. Okay, Shaitan or Satan means adversary. Okay, and they are the devil too, right? They are the deceiver in the flesh, far as deceiving the nations. The Lord has given them power to be able to deceive the nations, has given them the power to be able to have the fatness of the earth, which would be the resources to be able to deceive the nations. And they would rule it with what? A great sword. Okay, and with that great sword you see on display, you have many different teeth of that great sword. You have the hammer of the earth, far as their military, but also you have their pestilence that they can be able to push on the people. Okay, and that's going to be coming back out. And also, what do they do? They push forth also enchantments on the people. Okay, enchantments on the people, far as the fear mongering, taking away your so-called rights. Okay, so-called rights, taking away your privacy and bringing forth security. And that security is actually going to be them watching your every movement. Because also with that seed to the hip, that's something that's physical, with that central bank and digital currency, which is Revelation 13 and 16 and 18, which is something that's physical. They also want to track what you say through a social credit system. So something, for a simple example, as you say something good about the president, your social credit system goes high, means you're able to do more things. If you say something bad, then it goes lower, ultimately cutting off your you in society. Okay, and they also have another thing which is called the carbon footprint. Okay, which the carbon footprint is, how many times you go to the gym, how many times you have sex with your wife, you're certain, how many times you use the bathroom. Okay, how many times you travel. So these devils want to take away all that because they have a God complex, and I'm going to get into that after this right here. That's why we're supposed to prophesy again, which means to what? Forecast the future. Those that have the eye salve, those that have the understanding of the scriptures, we're supposed to give our people warning, whether they will hear or they will forbear, and tell them who our oppressor is, okay, which is the white man of today. Ezekiel 35:3, I say unto you, thus said the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Yeah, because this Babylon the Great, which is America, Babylon means confusion, and America means bitter. And this is the cash cow of these elites, okay, where they're able to push forth the fornication. That's why it's also known as the mother of all harlots, because it fornicates with these different nations to be able to bring forth their tyranny, as the guy was speaking about, which brings forth, or Slakia, their democracy, which creates a tyranny, which creates a harsh, cruel dictatorship, okay, where they're clamping down on the people, which means that they will take away anything that you so-called believe in, okay, as far as, your a certain religion that you follow after, your views, okay, going into the 1984 movie, the Orwellian, where it goes to the dystopian state where they were controlling everybody's mind and telling them what they could say and not say. That's why the Lord's going to make this place desolate, bringing forth what? Righteousness. Okay, because the making it desolate with those ICBM missiles actually is a cleansing agent. Okay, which is poorly needed, because again, this world needs new management. It needs one that's profitable, which is Yahweh Shai, which is the physician that will cut off the long disease, which is Esau Edom, because he is a disease. He's the one that is bringing forth all the wickedness, through the Lord, bringing forth his judgment. Okay. Ezekiel 35:4, I will lay the cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh. Yeah, they're going to know who Yahweh Shema Shai is, and they're going to know that it's not Esau Edom, okay, and he's not in control of shit. Ezekiel 35:5, because thou hast a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of the calamity, and the time of their iniquity had an end. Yeah, we were put in captivity. We were put in slavery. Okay, we were discontinued from our heritage because we were following after false gods and false idols. Okay, so the Lord sent forth the executioner, which is Esau Edom, to be that rod and that Syrian, that hammer on our people. Just like right now, the ones that don't want to hearken to this word, okay, they're going to get hit by the executioner, which is Esau Edom, that that great sword. Isaiah 10:5, O Assyrian, the rod of my anger, and thy staff of thy hands in my indignation. So indignation is righteous anger, and the modern day Assyrian is the white man of today. And that's a club that goes across your head. That's why this devil is able to, right here, it says, I will send against him a hypocritical nation. So hypocritical means godless, right? And that's Also, with another thing, Yuval Noah Harari said, he said that if there is salvation, it's going to be out of Silicon Valley, going into them trusting in their science, because they believe that they can be able to have immortality through their science, when Yahweh Shem Shai is the one that gives them any knowledge or wisdom far as to create these certain technologies. Okay, so 6, I will send against them a hypocritical nation, against the people of my wrath. I will give them charge to take spoil and to take prey and to tread them down like mirror of the streets. And that's what happens to our people all the time. We get shot down in the streets, and there's no justice, no peace. Why? Because again, the Lord has sent forth his judgment. He's known by his judgment and righteousness. Okay. It says, so Ezekiel 35:6, therefore, as I live, said the Lord, our power, I will pair thee into blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So blood's going to be pursuing these devils, as far as, their families. It speaks about, Isaiah 14, prepare slaughter for your children, because they bashed our children against against the stones, fed our children to dogs, to gators, and things like that. So since they love drinking blood, which Amalek means blood drinker, they love, which is the head tribe of Esau, Edom, they love drinking blood. Blood's going to pursue them, okay? And they're going to be in fetters, irons, and chains, and they're going to be shackled for 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, and then they will be, Obadiah 1:18, they will be exterminated. Why? Because they're trying to come up against the Lord, because they have a God complex. Ezekiel 28:2, son of man, I say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus said Yahweh Shema Shai, because thy heart is lifted up. So heart goes into your mindset. Their heart is lifted up, okay, above. They believe that it's above the Lord, because the Lord's given them what? A spirit of disobedience. Thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am thy power. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas. Okay, the seas goes into the people. Thou art a man and not God, though I set thy heart as the heart of God. So this devil believes that he is a God. Now he is a God far as in this world, far as he has power. Okay, I read that in Isaiah 10:5. He has power in this world, but he's not the creator. Okay, because the Lord has created what he is the potter, and he's created vessels to be able to bring forth either righteousness or wickedness. Okay, and this devil believes that he is above all, because he is in power far as around the four corners of the earth. That hammer, that sword, they're able to be in over 800 places far as their military base, to be able to bring forth their democracy, which leads to a tyranny. Okay, when it speaks about Tyrus, that goes into that was an ancient great merchant city, just like Babylon the Great is. It speaks about that in Revelation 18, because you're able to get everything you need from Babylon the Great, just like Tyrus, and now what they're in control of it right now. Okay, it says Ezekiel 28:2, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can't hide from thee. So again, everybody is being watched, okay, on these smart TVs, on your phone. Okay, because the Lord has given them the technology as far as the science, which science goes back to the Greek word gonos, which means to know far as the splitting of the atom, far as the the ways to destroy, far as the ICBM missile. Okay, but he's given them this wisdom so the Lord can be able to show forth his power, far as when he brings down this place, and that goes into Romans 9. Okay. It says, and Daniel was a very wise man, right? Far as his knowledge, wisdom, understanding, because the Lord gave him that. Okay, the Lord is the one that gives you the understanding of certain things, whether for righteousness or for wickedness. Ezekiel 28:2, for with thy wisdom and with thy understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into their treasures. Okay, so with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, far as to be able to conquer certain places, to be able to do a diligent search, they're able to see others' weaknesses and be able to conquer those through that great sword. Okay. It says 5, by great wisdom and by traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because thy riches. So they're lifted up because they have money. They have money that they don't even need. Okay. And what do they do with that money? They invest in technology devices to be able to put inside people. They invest in surveillance to be able to watch their slaves. Okay, because we are slaves in the society. We're not free. Okay, and their proudness. Malachi 1:4 speaks about that their pride has deceived thee. The pride of thy own heart okay, and it has reached them to the heavens, far as their their iniquity, okay. 6, therefore thus said Yahweh Shemashai, because thou hast set thy heart as the heart of God, okay, because you think you're wiser than the Most High. So the Lord's going to show you that he is omnipotent, okay, that he has all power, he has all control, because the Lord's in control. Isaiah 45:7, I form the light, I create darkness, I make peace, I create evil, I Yahweh do all these things. So Yahweh Shemashai does all these things, okay, and his ways are not our ways. So we don't necessarily, we don't have the understanding far as why the Lord, set up this devil. Now we do through the scriptures, okay, but far as just being in the flesh, we don't have the understanding of it, okay. But the Lord has revealed his secrets to what his servants, the prophets, to be able to understand that this is the wicked, okay, and that the Lord is in control of the whole movie. So all we have to do is what? Trust in the Lord, because the Lord said he's coming back for those that are proud. Isaiah 13:11, I will punish the world for their evil. So evil goes into the bad times, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. So the Lord's going to lay low the proudest of the proudest. And who is that? That's Esau, Edom. Okay, because these are the things that the Lord hates. This is Proverbs 6:15, which is Esau, Edom. Okay, it speaks about that in Romans, that the Lord hates Esau, which Esau means wasted away he is. It's an omen. It says, let me start. Yeah, perfect. So, and I just want to get into the scriptures before because I put out the video, and I'm going to get into the article. It says Proverbs 6:12, a naughty person, a wicked man, walk with forward mouth. So constant lies. He's constantly putting out information. For instance, with the Beetlejuice. Okay, now the information's coming out that they were trying to suppress it. Okay, and what they're being exposed. Esau, Edom's being made bare. But what are they going to do? They're going to come out with more enchantments. But Numbers 23, there's no enchantment on Jake, and that's going to be the hopeful elect. Proverbs 6:13, he winketh with his eyes, he speak with his feet, he teacheth with his fingers. So again, he acts like he didn't do nothing. It speaks about that in Sirach 12. Okay, he acts like he doesn't do anything. There ain't nothing going on. If someone asks him a question and they have the information right there, he'll shrug his shoulders like, that wasn't me. Okay, that's Esau, Edom to the fullest. Proverbs 6:14, that's his mannerisms. It says, forwardness is in his heart. Okay, it says, he deviseth mischief continually, he soweth discord. Okay, so constantly he's engaged in evil acts. Okay, constantly he's engaged in what mischievous acts. Okay, read this in NLT. They perverted hearts. Yeah, so the perverted minds plot evil, and they constantly stir up trouble. Yeah, because they were created to be the evil. They were created to be the wicked. Okay, they weren't created to be. Let me just get the scripture because I kind of keep going to it. Yeah, I'll read this. This is Romans 9:21. Had not the potter power over the clay, the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another to dishonor? And the one to honor is Jacob. Okay, the one to dishonor is Esau, Edom. Okay, it says 22. What if our power, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction? And that's Esau, Edom. He's that ticking time bomb. He's at his last wick before he self-destructs. Okay, but the Lord's going to save his elect before the self-destruction. Okay, that would be considered what the hour of temptation, when the Lord's going to intervene for his elect. It says, he soweth discord. I want to get this word soweth real quick, because this is what he's reaping. This is what he's bringing forth through his unrighteous dealings, through the things that he prescribed. Let's get this word soweth.
Strong's H 7971. Shalach.
It says shalak, so that's the Hebrews 7971. Shalak So it goes into to stretch out. And what is he doing? He's stretching out his it speaks about that in Psalms 37. He's like a green bay tree. He's stretching out his branches through his NATO and his EU, which the NATO and the EU is joined unto the horde. Okay, the horde rides upon the beast system. Okay, and everybody's business. I believe over 164 countries where they bringing forth the pandemic sovereignty, which is you to have no rights. Okay, they're extending. It also speaks about that in Habakkuk 2 and 5. Okay, to send off, away, or forth, dismiss, give over, cast out. Yeah, and what are they trying to cast out? They're trying to cast out righteousness. Yeah, to shoot forth branches, and that's what they're doing. They're shooting forth their branches, far as in these all these different countries, bringing forth again their tyranny. Let's get this other word. This is discord.
Strong's H 4090. Medan.
And that's the Hebrews 4090. Medan. Okay, strife, contention, and that's what they bring on the whole world. They bring strife and contention towards all the people, because if you're not with them, you're against them. Okay, the devil is set out either to deceive you or to kill you, and ultimately he wants to kill you. Okay, and that's his whole thing, is to push forth strife. Let's go a little bit deeper.
Strong's H 4066. Madon.
Yep. So even when it says about the scriptures, I'll roughly paraphrase it. Even when the just speak uprightly, what does he do? He comes with his own words like his own slander, as far as extremists, radicalists, things like that, bringing forth what strife. And so that's that word discord. So it's good. It says Proverbs 6 and 14. Foreignness is in his heart, so foreignness is in his mind, perverted. Right, because everything that Esau Edom does is profane, which is outside the temple. Okay, Proverbs 6 and 15. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. Yeah, so suddenly he's going to be broken, and right now he's being broken down. Okay, he's being Hosea 6 and 5. He's being hewn and cutting asunder because he's being made bare. One of his powers that the Lord gave him was secrecy. Okay, and that secrecy is being out in the open. And it speaks about that 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3 on down. It speaks about the son of perdition being revealed. Okay, and who is he revealed to? The servants, the prophets, the ones that believe in Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay, Proverbs 6 and 16. These 6 things do the Lord Yahweh hate. Yes, 7 are abomination unto him. A proud look. And you saw how that devil, Yuval Noah Harari, how he looks. Dude's engaged in transformer activity. He's engaged in man-on-man activity, and he's very proud. He boasts against the Lord, far as saying there's no salvation. And it speaks about that a fool had said in his heart. Let me just get it real quick. And these guys are fools, because in the world, they're portrayed as smart. They're intelligent. It speaks about that in 1 Corinthians 1 and 18. Okay, as far as the wisdom of this world is actually foolishness. Okay, the true wisdom is these scriptures. This is Psalms 14 and 1. Their fool has said in his heart, there is no God, they are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. And it also speaks about that in Romans 3 and 10. There is not one that doeth good. Okay, because they were created to be the wicked. And I read that in Romans 9. It says a proud look, a lying tongue. And they're constantly always lying. What do? They say that we're just surveilling you for security, but it's not for security. It's ultimately to watch what you're saying. Job 13 and 4, but you are forgers of lies. You are physicians of no value. Yep, they're forgers of lies. Going into also what they're estranged from the womb, Psalms 58 and 2, or Psalms 58 and 3. They're estranged from the womb, telling lies. And that goes into when they came into power in about the mid-1300s, the Renaissance era, which is the rebirth of the Roman Empire. And we're on the second leg of the Roman Empire. What did they start doing? Covering the faces of the judges thereof. Okay? As far as putting forth their pale-faced images. Okay? Because that's not how our Lord looks. Our Lord would look like a so-called black man of today. Okay? But they put forth that thing called iconoclasm by putting forth that pale-faced image of Caesar Borgia, which is today's Jesus Christ, JC. Proverbs, which is a false image. Okay, Proverbs 6:17, a proud look, a lying tongue. Okay, and hands that shed innocent blood, and they're constantly shedding blood. They knocked over about 50 million people, and they still want more blood. That's why I read in Ezekiel 35. They're not worried about shedding blood. It's all good to them. Okay, Proverbs 6:18, a heart that deviseth wicked. So the heart goes into the Hebrew word lahab, goes into their mind, that deviseth wicked imaginations. Feet that be swift and running to mischief. Okay, and that's what they're constantly doing. They're always engaged in these Bohemian Grove meetings, these Bilderberg meetings, these Davos meetings, these COP27 meetings. Okay, to what? Bring forth evil. Okay, to devise iniquity upon the people, how they could be able to trap the people in. Okay, a false witness that speak lies and that soweth discord among brethren. Okay, so I just want to get that point 18. So let's read this again. It's in the NLT, Proverbs 6:18. A heart that plots evil, the feet that race to do wrong. And that's constantly what they're doing. They're always engaged in mischievous activities. Okay, they're that vile person that it speaks about in Isaiah 32. And just highlight this real quick. And now I'm going to go back to the article. Because now you're going to see, as far as the scriptures, that they are faithful and true, as far as what they're doing in this article, right? So we read it what it says. It says the British security chiefs are warning communist China could use central banking digital currency, CBDC, to monitor and control citizens, while the British state itself is working on CBDC. Okay, so the China, the guy Rishi Sunak, I believe that's in this. He's the UK Prime Minister now. He took over for Boris Johnson. And what did he want to do? He pushing forth that digital currency. Okay, they're all on one accord as far as that. They want everyone to have the seat to the hip. Now, as far as who is in power, that's different. Because, again, they're fighting over the oil. They're fighting over the resources of the world. Okay, just like we're fighting for the oil, as far as the spiritual oil. Okay, to maintain that oil, to keep pushing to the end. He that endured to the end shall be saved. While the wicked, they're fighting for oil as far as the resources, the food, and things like that on the world stage. So it's all about that oil. Okay, as far as, and we're fighting for that spiritual oil, because again, that goes into control. If you can, that's the new world order. If you control the oil, the gas, the food, then you will become the number one power. Okay, and that's why they want to bring in ultimate control, as far as the digital asset. The digital asset you will own nothing and be happy. Okay, they can control your every movement, and if you don't comply to the rules, they'll just shut you off. Okay, Revelation 13:16 and down to 18. Sir Germany Fleming, who leads the government communications headquarters, GCHQ, mass surveillance agency, used the Royal United States Service Institute, Russia annual. Yeah, so they have mass surveillance on everybody. I have a couple. Yeah, I believe it's this one right here. Right, that's not it. Yeah, so this is from The Guardian, okay? And it says GCHQ's mass data interpretation violated right to privacy court rules. Human rights judgment follows legal challenges begin in 2013 after Edward Snowden's whistleblowing revelations. And what was he doing? He was exposing what they were doing in the background as far as spying on people. Okay, the last Jason Bourne movie, it shows that, as far as the guy selling out, and then he was selling information to the government. Okay, I'm just gonna read a little bit of this article. It says, in what was described as a landmark victory by Liberty, one of applications, the judges also found that the bulk interpretation regime breached the right to freedom of expression and contained insufficient protections for confidential journalist material, but said the decision to operate a bulk of interpretation regime did not itself violate the European Convention on the Human Rights. So again, they control the rules. Okay, they are that they have their hand in, as far as these prime ministers, these presidents, their hand in their pocket. They control everything, as far as the things in the world. They have their portion. Okay, so whenever they say it's not legal or you can be able to do it. That's just because they paid those guys off. But the point is, I want to get down here. Yeah, it says bulk surveillance powers allow state to collect data that can reveal a huge amount about any of us. From our political views to our sexual orientation, these mass surveillance powers do not make us safer. Okay? And what are they doing? They're watching the prophets. Okay? They're watching the prophets and what they're saying and what they're doing. So even the mockers and the scoffers, you're being watched. Okay? So if you're against anything that has to do with this regime, far as this wicked regime pushing, then you are what on the list? You have the red list, which are the prophets, the blue list, which are the followers, and the yellow list are the ones that are just going to take the seat to the hip. And the black list are the ones that are coming out with truth, but they don't have the spiritual covering of Yahweh Shem Shai. See, that's what the prophets, the Lord willing, were of that number, have refuge, have shelter through what this word, because that's why you're supposed to stay in the scriptures as far as the testimony. Because when you testify through the scriptures, you're able to have a covering. But when you go outside, like you see a lot of camps, they're going outside, they don't have a covering. Ultimately will be their judgment. Our right to privacy protects all of us. Today's decisions takes another step closer to scrapping these dangerous, oppressive surveillance powers and ensuring our rights are protected. You have no rights. Okay? You don't have no rights. Right? That's clear. And it speaks about Isaiah 10:1, Daniel 8:25, Revelation 13:11, that they would come out with unrighteous decrees, that they would come out with draconian measures. When you go into draconian, Revelation 13:11, it goes into Athenian ruler, Draco, which was, he was a harsh ruler. And what did he do? For small crimes, you were executed. Okay? And that's the same thing they're going to do now. You don't take that seat to the hip, they're going to kill you. Okay? But the men of the Lord, far as Yahweh Shem Shai, has 7,000 men that won't bow down to the image of Baal. Okay? Not going to bow down to Esau, Edom, and his beast system, his seat to the hip. Okay, and those ones that are chosen of the elect are going to be able to have food, water, and shelter. Okay, Lord willing, we're of that number. Liberty said the decision would allow challenges the IPA, nicknamed Snooper's Charter by critics, to proceed in UK courts, having been stayed pending the Chamber's decision. And UK is what? Part of NATO. Okay, that's the monetary system that's pushing forth far as the control over here in Babylon the Great. They're all on one accord, okay? And those nations are going to be what? Wroth with the Slakia. They're going to be upset with the whore. Speaks about that, Revelation 17:16. It says, 3 of the dissenting judges quoted from George Orwell's 1984, there was of course no way of knowing whether you were being watched at any given moment. And right now you're being watched, okay? You're being surveilled. Even if you hang out with somebody, they can be able to track your phone. They got a thing called, I believe it's a Stingray, okay, where they can be able to hit and ping off your phone and be able to get all your information, take all your information on your phone, okay? They're watching. If you have a smart TV, they're watching you through all the devices. That's why they have Alexa and all these different programs. That's why when you go into your apps, okay, you go into, or say like you go into a certain site, they'll say, do you want to accept? And if you don't accept, you're not able to keep going in the site. But if you accept, it's like pages and pages of things that they do. And what are they doing? They're getting a thing called data mining, which data mining is they're collecting, basically an algorithm of who you deal with, who you're talking to, what you're watching, what you're doing. Okay. And so that's them watching, far as watching the people. Big Brother, I did a lesson about it. Brothers want to check it out. I think it was like last week or something like that. So this was another article that was linked in from the first article that I had. Let's see. Yeah, then this shows you everything's going digital. So those ones that are saying that it's the market cane and all these BS false prophet things, you're deceiving the people, and you will be tossed in that lake of fire, okay? Because you're not supposed to deceive that little children, okay? As far as you're supposed to come out with sound doctrine, okay? So this is an article. It says the Great Reset, and the Great Reset is code word for New World Order, Okay. UK prepares to introduce a digital pound, central bank digital currency. Okay. Central banking digital currency, taking away the paper dollar. Okay. Bringing in the digital currency. Why are they doing that? Ultimately, go to the C to the hip. Okay. It says the de facto head of Majesty's Treasury announced this week at the Bank of England has been consultations on implementing a central bank digital currency. It says that could usher in the globalist vision. Who's the globalist? Klaus Schwab. Okay, and ultimately the Rothschilds, because the Rothschilds are one in control. These are those guys that you see that we know to be the wicked. They're nothing but cult of personalities. Okay, that are set up, nothing but puppets. But in the background is the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, the Warburgs, the Schiff, which are the biblical Edomites, the wicked. Globalist vision of cashless society in which all transactions are traceable by the government. And who's the government means mind control. Who's the government? I just spoke about it. Esau, Edom. Okay. And I've done lessons about this too, as far as the digital currency. I just want to get a little bit just to add on to the lesson. Just to show you, this is all over the world. This is not just Babylon the Great, and also you have Australia too, and also China. Everywhere is doing it. Why? Because they're bringing in. The Lord said it would be an ointment and sense, okay, which is that word for world that speaks about in Revelation 13. Yeah, this is the part I want to get. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who was essentially endorsed by Chinese state media in the contest to replace Boris Johnson as PM, which he lost. Who married into a multi-billion emphasized tech dynasty in India, has been at the forefront of pushing introduction of CBDC in Britain. Okay, nothing but a cult of personality set up, right? And these families, these heathens, have consulted together to what? Hide thy hidden ones. Okay, to put that device inside of you. Ultimately, this was their goal. Yep. So it says what? NFTs, metaverse. Okay, NFTs is nothing but the M to the BZ. Okay, metaverse, which metaverse, meta goes into metaphon, which they want to implement the device under your metaphon, under your forehead. Okay, Revelation 13 and 16. And look, those are the people that are going to be running you. You shall know them by their countenance. Okay. All right. So let's go back to. Let's go back to the article. So this is now I read a little bit of this yesterday, but this is the point I want to get. It says control is a major driver for Beijing as it seeks to build centralized digital currency. Sir, Germany told that near 200 year what think tank. So for 200 years they've been thinking about this. Okay? And it speaks about this in the scriptures. This is Psalms 64, and I'll just get right to the point. Psalm 64 and 5. Yep. They encourage themselves in the evil matter. They commune of laying snares. Privily they say, who shall see them? Okay. And the Lord sees you. Okay. And snares are what known as traps. And they commune at laying traps and snares for people. Okay. Setting up where they destroy the foods, destroy the food. So you have to go to them for the one of all things, to destroy the water. Okay, and they have to control those resources, and that goes into a siege, which is a military tactic. It says 6, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both their inward thought of every one of them, and their heart is deep. Yeah, so it's very deep. They study these things for years and years. It said over 200 years. And ultimately to get to the technology that they have right now with the C to the hip. Daniel's 12 and 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up thy words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. May shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So just like the understanding of the scriptures, as far as the right hand side, now the son of perdition is being revealed. We see what the C to the hip is. Okay. And also on the left hand side, you see the knowledge increasing, far as the technology. Okay. And they're doing a diligent search, far as their heart is deep. Far as it said, what, 200 years. Okay, 200 years they've been studying how they can be able to bring in a think tank. And what is a think tank? Let's get it right here.
Think tank.
Okay, it says a body of experts providing advice and ideas on specific political or economic problems. Okay, Hegelian dialectic, which is pressure from below, pressure from above. Okay, that's what they're doing over there in China, where they have everyone on lockdown. Okay, that's a diligent search, providing advice. They've been studying for years and years what things worked on people, as far as through the different kingdoms, and what things didn't work. Okay, to bring out what political power, to bring out the power that they would need. A one world government ultimately is what they want, right? One world government, one world military, a one world religion. Everyone has the seats of the hip, and you're linked into what these smart cities. Okay, and they've been doing this for years and years. This is Executive Order 13603, National Defense Resource Preparedness. Okay, so where they can be able to, since they're surveilling you, they can be able to come in your house domestically. They have a thing called the 1033 program, which is they give the police they militarize the police. Okay, because that's what they want. That's what they're going to be doing. The Lord said they would be coming in like a flood. Okay, it says, I just want to get a couple of these. It says, A, identify requirements for full spectrum of emergencies, including essential military and civilian demand. Yeah, because again, people are going to be crying out, because what are they doing? They're pushing forth unrighteous decrees. And they're, as far as on January 1st, this is just one of them. On January 1st in Chicago, they have a thing called the Safety Act. Okay, which is they're letting everybody out of prison, which is going to be the purge. They're letting everybody out of prison, or Slakia, let me say it correctly. They're letting everybody out of jail or prison that doesn't have a murder charge. Okay, they're letting them out on the streets, also on a no bail warrant. So they're letting everyone, so rapists, second degree murder, manslaughter. Okay, they're all going to be out on the streets. Okay, that's going to be utter chaos. That's why you have businesses in Chicago that are moving from that place. Okay, and this is going to be all out. And that's when the people are going to cry out to have what martial law, to have the military come in. It says B, assess on an ongoing basis the capability of domestic industry and technology based to satisfy requirements in a peaceful times of national emergency. And right now we're in a national emergency. Okay, because Pedo Joe signed over the rights to what FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Act. Okay, right now we're in that. That's why they're passing draconian measures, as far as the Executive Order 14067 that was passed, as far as to take away the paper dollar and bring in the digital dollar. That wasn't passed through the House or the Senate. That was passed in the darkness, just like the Federal Reserve was on Jekyll Island in 1913. By again, these elites evaluating availability of the most critical resource, production sources, including subcontractors, suppliers, materials, skilled labor, professional, technical, personal. Be prepared in event of potential threat, and they are the threat. Okay, it says an event of potential threat and security of the United States. It says to take actions necessary to ensure availability of adequate resource production capability, including services, critical technology. What's the technology? They're watching everybody. Okay, the information that they gathered, who they're going to be able to go get for national defense requirements, improve efficiency responses, domestic industry based to support national defense requirements. Okay. So again, coming after the people. That's why they're watching you constantly. That's why they're watching us. There was another one. There's an executive order. I believe this is the Patriot Act. Executive Order 13224. So when the towers got hit, okay, that's when the Patriot Act came, where they can be able to come into your house and call you a terrorist, and they can be able to plot on you, as far as getting information. Okay. So it says, in general terms, an order provides means by which to disrupt the financial support network for terrorists. So again, them taking away money, just like they did with Kyrie Irving, just like they did with Kanye West, where they took away their money because of them saying something. Okay, that was a warning to people out there. If you say anything about the fake J's, we will take away your money. And what are they calling us? They're calling us terrorists, radicalists, extremists. Okay, they're slandering thy brother. They're framing mischief by law. Okay, government to designate block assets of foreign individuals pose significant risk of committing acts of terrorism because our weapons of warfare are not carnal. Carnal mind is enmity with the Lord. Our weapons are this sword, are the scriptures. Okay, but what are they doing? They're framing mischief by law because you have camps out there that do carry weapons, and they're going to be the first that are going to be hit up. Okay. U.S. by the government. U.S. government to block the assets of individuals and entitlees, provide support services. Okay. And brothers could just check it out. Executive Order 13224. Okay, which is what the Patriot Act, where they're able to surveil you and watch you at everything. Oh, that was for another article. Oh, this was one that came out today. And this is the dude Adams, right? It says, Big Brother is protecting you, says NYC Mayor Eric Adams. And they say they're protecting, but they're letting in all these people, these asylum seekers, into these different places because ultimately they're going to, I believe through the spirit, just as a man, I believe that they have to do a psyop, but they're going to use those, immigrants, so-called immigrants as, this is the problem, which a lot of them are Jake. Okay. So let me get back to the article. Yeah, it says yes. I believe that's okay. Yeah, so 200 years of a think tank. So now we know what think tank is, right? Yes, it introduced efficiencies and new ways of setting payments, but the way it's being implemented allows the monitoring of citizens and forces companies to use the service. Yeah, so again, the companies have to use it. Otherwise, because again, they're going to be watching everybody's movement. They're going to be, because when, again, you have, where your bank system, you have a direct deposit. So when you have direct deposit, you say something about the government, they'll just cut you off. Okay, that's why these businesses have to be a part of it too. He continued adding that the dude, it's like the digital yuan, which is that's China's banking system, might also enable the CCP to circumvent international sanctions of the sort being imposed on Russia due to its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February. Okay, going into, if you're against them, then they'll cut off your their money. The irony, however, that Britain's National Central Bank, Bank of England itself, working on British CBDC, referred to as digital pound, at the behaviors the Chancellor of, this is a man with close personal links to China and reputed admirer of China's authority and model of government, at least respect to the lockdown. So that's the article that I grabbed, I brought out earlier. Let's see. Yeah, so everything's going digital, okay, which is just like what the scriptures is speaking about. So I want to get a couple scriptures, then I'll wrap it up. This is Psalms 10. Psalms 10 and 5, his ways are always grievous, their judgments are far above, out of sight. As for his enemy, he puffeth at him. So that's what they're doing. They're puffing at the men of the Lord because they're coming out with a seat to the hip when the Lord told us not to take that. Okay, Psalms 10 and 6, he said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. That's what the devil believes in. Okay, the white man believes that he'll never be touched. But we read that what's going to happen, he's going to be desolate, Ezekiel 35, right in the beginning. 7, his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud, under his tongue and mischief and vanity. Yeah, because they're pushing for something that that is mischievous. Okay, that will, if you take it, you will have no rest day nor night, and you will get caught up in the hypersonic missiles. Okay, you will have no chance for salvation. 8, he sitteth in the lurking places of the villages, in the secret places do he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor. And that's what they're doing. They're watching you. Big Brother's watching you, sitting in the lurking places in the villages, watching to see what you're doing, as far as where you're going to, who you're talking to, right? Psalms 10 and 9, he lieth in wait as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He do catch the poor when he draw them into his net. How is he drawing people into his net? Okay, by them cutting off the resources and saying, hey, you got to come to us. Okay, but the Lord said that he would give us refuge. He would give us shelter. And this is that violent man that speaks about in Psalms 140 and 1. So Psalms 140 and 1, it says, deliver me, O Yahweh, from the evil man. Preserve me from that violent man. And this is King David, Psalms of King David. And what the tabernacle of David is being risen up as the days of old. And we're, praying the same prayer. Preserve us from this violent man, which is the white men of today, which imagine mischiefs in their heart. Continually they are gathered together for war. And that's what they're doing. They're gathered together for war, to what? Wage war on the people. They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent adders, poison under their lips, Salah. So how have they sharpened their tongue? Far as their legislation that they put out. Because again, they're framing mischief by law. Psalms 94 and 16. Or Psalms 94, okay? This is Psalms 140. It says in 4, keep me, O Yahweh, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from that violent man who have proposed to overthrow my goings, okay? To overthrow our ways, okay? So you're not going to be able to just work for this man's system anymore unless you have that seed to the hip. 5, the proud have hid a snare for me in their courts. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set gins for me. And these are all traps and snares that Esau Edom has set up. Okay, but the Lord, he's going to give us salvation through what? Trusting in him. But we have to lean on him. Okay, we have to truly trust in him. Right? Wait 1 second. This is 2 Corinthians. Was that 5? Yep. It says 2 Corinthians 5 and 7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. We are confident, I say, are willing rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord. Wherefore we labor that we, whether present or absent, that we may be accepted of him. And we're praying that we be accepted of him. But this goes into what? Trusting in our Lord. It says Proverbs 3 and 5, trust in Yahweh with all thy heart and lean not on thy own understanding. All thy ways acknowledge him and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thy own eyes and fear Yahweh. Depart from evil. So depart from this devil. Depart from this world. Okay? We know that we got to be in this world far as, to carry out our sentence far as bearing our cross. Okay? But love not the world, love not the world or the things in it. 1 John 2 and 15. Okay, be renewed, be transformed in your mind, because your adversary, the devil, what is he trying to do? He's trying to take your life. Okay. 1 Peter 5 and 8, be sober. So be a focus on the truth. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, which devil means deceiver, and that's Esau Edom. He's sent out to deceive the nations as a roaring lion. Okay, as a roaring lion, walk about seeking who he may devour. And how is he going to devour you? With his with his devices. Okay, if you trust in him. But if you trust in the Lord's going to give you salvation. Okay, because the Lord is with the ones that are standing up for righteousness. This is Psalms 94 and 16, because I was quoting this earlier. Yep, it says Psalms 94 and 16, who will rise up against the evildoers? Who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? Okay. And that's the prophets. The prophets are going to stand up with the gates of Zion, which are, let me just get it, Psalms 87 and 1. It says his foundation is in the holy mountain. So holy goes into separate, mountains, it goes into the government. Okay, the foundation goes into the first church. The Lord Yahweh loveth the gates of Zion. Who are the gates of Zion? The prophets, more than the dwellings of Jacob. The dwellings of Jacob is going to be the 2/3, the ones that are going to have to get it through a grievous death here, but they will come through the boughs of the gates of Zion in the kingdom. Okay, and those are the ones that are standing up for righteousness right now. Okay, because they have the secrets. This is Psalms 94 and 17. Unless Yahweh had been my help, my soul had almost dwelt in silence. When I said, my foot slippeth, the mercy of Yahweh held me up. The Lord's holding us up through this word. And the multitude of thoughts within me comforts delight my soul. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? And that's what they're doing. They're framing mischief by law, by surveilling us, watching us, sitting in the lurking places, and pushing forth to what Psalms 50, to what slander thy brother. 21, they gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. And that's what they're doing. They're gathered together, right? Why does the heathen rage? Psalms 2. 22, it says, but the Lord Yahweh is my defense, and my power is a rock of my refuge. He shall bring upon them their iniquity, and shall cut them off for their own wickedness. Yeah, the Lord Yahweh Shemashai will cut them off. Yeah, so how is he going to cut them off? Their resources, starting with their economy, and ultimately will be with those hypersonic missiles that are going to be ranging down on Babylon the Great for their unrighteous decrees. Okay, so with that, call Hala Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yarashai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash. Shalom to elect. Kwame Ashala.